Okay, so welcome to today's next level session here at Inside Real Estate. We are live on YouTube. If you would for me, and you're watching this later on YouTube or on Facebook, you can go ahead and smash the like button and subscribe and tick the notification bell. There's a little bell on YouTube that you can tick next to us that'll tell you whenever we put new stuff out. So trying to up my YouTube call to action game, and there you have it. So smash that like button. So guys, just so you know, these replays all exist at insiderealestate.com/webinars and in our next level members area. You can see the latest. We are just geysering, fire hosing content at you. There is so much that you can learn about Kvcor. And just to keep in mind, we try to, on these next level sessions, not only talk about functionality of Kvcor, but also kind of go into the strategy behind everything. So insiderealestate.com/webinars. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel so you're aware. Tell everybody in our team to do so. And we're good to go. Also, our live events, we like to do this as our housekeeping every time we go live here. Just to remind you that we do have a live training calendar. We have advanced and basic stuff, all kinds of stuff going on the calendar. You can check out at the top right of the Kvcor dashboard. So as I noted in the Facebook group earlier today, you may have seen that invite. The topic today is building a property boost-based real estate growth system. So many of you are probably familiar with Property Boost. That is kind of our flagship marketplace product, I would call it, or at least the one that I like to tell people to go check out first for a number of reasons. And I've had this kind of theory that you could use Property Boost to kind of build your whole business around it if you want to. So we're going to dig into this outline here. I'm remembering now there was one other piece of business that I wanted to get to that I'm forgetting, and that is just to give you an update on the seller ad that I talked about 2 days ago on the some seller ad examples and tests. This test we're running with Renee. That has generated 5 leads for $7.87 a piece, and I haven't looked to see if there are any text responses. So I just wanted to make sure I did that because I told everybody in a few days I would update you. So those are coming in at a good cost per lead. I'll reference that video if you want to check that out after this one, just to, if you didn't see that, to know what I'm talking about. But that process is starting to work, which is kind of encouraging. Okay, back to building a property boost-based real estate growth system. Now, real estate growth systems is this kind of term that I started using about a year ago in our next level mastermind. And we have this whole section called the growth system builder right here. And it walks through this flow where you use, you basically build an internet marketing funnel. I'm calling it a growth system. I should have just called it building in a real estate marketing funnel, duh. But anyway, we call it a growth system. And the idea here is that you can put together pieces of the puzzle. You can drive traffic, kind of walks you through, you do lead generation, you drive traffic, and then you do some follow-up stuff, cause conversations and closings. And you can kind of repeat the process outlined here to install systems in your real estate business that just kind of work on an semi-automated fashion and reliably generate your business. So we've got a few example ones. You've heard me talk a lot about the waterfront homes growth system that Forever Florida is using, home value report one, the new construction open house list growth system. You can basically build a growth system around any kind of property type or customer type that you can think of in real estate. That it's endless. You can kind of, but with these, there is a little bit of technical know-how on the ad running side of things. And I've always had this idea that, hey, Property Boost actually generates very similar leads to the growth systems we talked about. And it is an easy button that you can push and not have to deal with a lot of technical mumbo jumbo in order to get fresh homeowners and renters flowing into your database. So theory bullets, Property Boost generates renters and homeowners who might list with us into our Kvcor database. That's the first thing I want to say. You're running an ad, and I'll show you Property Boost in a minute. We're going to run one, but you're running an ad for specific listings. The people opting into that ad, they are going to be renters in your market who are thinking about buying, but almost more frequently, they're going to be homeowners who live in the area who are thinking of moving up or moving down, or they're just opting in because they're curious about the listing and they want to send it to a friend, right? They're just curious and bored. They're hanging out on Facebook. But the bottom line is they are homeowners. So we get this question, as we talked about 2 days ago, like, how do I get listing leads? And this is it to me. This is just put a lot of people in your database who own homes, create conversations with them, and over time, your business will be flush with listings. And the most top producers I know, that's pretty much how they did it. They had some method of getting people into their fold, whether it's just hanging out at the bar, and meeting a bunch of people or what. But just they get a lot of listings because they know a lot of people over time and have a lot of real estate conversations. Property Boost is affordable. It's affordable and not required recurring. So it's a one-off purchase every time you do it. It's finite. A lot of our other ad products and a lot of real estate lead vendors out there, they want to charge you a monthly fee for various reasons that make sense. But Property Boost, we're able to do that for a one-time fee. So that's kind of cool. It can scale, and I'll talk about why it can scale quickly. And by scale, I mean you can get very big and increase your spend almost infinitely if you're creative. So what I mean is, even if you don't have any listings, as I don't, and I'm going to start running Property Boost today, even though I don't have any listings, I'll show you how. There are ways that you can use other people's listings as long as you have permission. And if you have access to listing inventory, you can run lots of Property Boosts and generate lots of leads. And it can scale up and down. I'm going to say scale up and down. You have complete control. You can order a bunch of Property Boosts this month, but maybe next month you're too busy. You can scale it down, but then you feel your pipeline sagging, and you run some more Property Boosts. So, Kathy, yes. Anyone with Kvcor can get to these growth systems. It is a 7-day free trial. It's $19 a month for the next level currently. So it's in the marketplace under the coaching session. So to answer your question, no, you need to have the next level membership. There, yeah, sorry if I answered that in the backwards way. So you can scale Property Boost up and down. It's a great way to leverage listings, of course. You're running ads for listings and getting exposure for your sellers. So if you do have listings, this is a no-brainer. It's going to send an email optionally to your sellers. You can tell your seller's email address. They'll send an email every day, letting them know about the traffic. You're getting exposure for the listing. You're getting buyer leads around a listing. Great if you're a listing agent. So you get lots of leverage from the listing, and you're also generating direct leads around the listing. And a few other things that we're going to talk about in a minute as I build out my Property Boost based growth system in my account is that the initial text is very, very important. I see so much missed opportunity with people buying Property Boost who don't have an initial auto text set up. And if the name of the game here, as we said above, is to generate conversations with people, the most direct way to do that in this day and age is to send them an auto text and count on a certain percentage of them to reply right back to you. Can't stress that enough. And setting up property alerts is also important, and sending something cool is also important. These last three are kind of the conversion section in our growth builder, causing conversations and closings right here. These are sort of the things we're going to do. So, I'm going to, I'll get to your questions, guys. These are good questions. I see them there. We'll get to them in a minute, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through the implementation of this right now and kind of go step by step, and you can follow along. If I start to talk too fast, I apologize, but you can always slow the YouTube video down when you're watching a replay later by clicking the gear icon, or speed it up if I get boring. But the step one with any new lead source is actually, in my opinion, not to actually set up the traffic. It's actually to set up the auto text and the smart campaign that triggers when that lead source comes in. So before I even run a Property Boost, I'm going to hop into my Kvcor now, and I'm going to make sure I have a smart campaign set up that can handle my Property Boost leads. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go into marketing and then smart campaigns. And then there is actually in the Kvcor library, I think I kind of helped set this up back in the day. Yeah, there's this Property Boost and Facebook ads campaign that you can probably fill in. I might do some tweaks to it now because a few things have changed since we added this, but I'm just going to add that one just to save myself a little time. Okay. And then I'll go back to my campaigns, Property Boost. I've got a bunch of them there. I pulled it in a few times. And then there is one actually live, so I'll just use this one, click into it. And you'll see that it doesn't have a lot in it. And that's kind of by design right now. And I can add to this if I want to, but the most important thing that I want to make sure I do is that I have this minute 7 auto text that kind of mirrors our conversation starting campaigns. And as I'm saying this out loud, guys, for those of you watching live, I apologize. I'm actually going to use the conversation starter. I had some notes and I wrote this down this morning. Use the conversation starter, not the Property Boost. So in the library, there's actually this conversation starter. And the biggest reason to use this is because it has a couple more touches in it that might help you. So I'm going to take one that I've pulled in from the library. It's called Conversation Starter for Buyer Leads. And this one had more touches in it. And the reason I like this one, it has a few extra things, like it asks them if they own a house on day 4, and just does a couple other things. So I got my conversation starter in here. I'm going to edit the campaign settings. And I'm going to change a few things around. Okay. And the first thing I'm going to change is I'm going to change it so that this fires whenever the hashtag property boost comes in. So any property boost lead will always come in. It'll look like this with just the string property boost. And I'll let this always run on any new property boost like that. Click continue. And I'll just say it's designed for buyers. And I'm going to change the name of this conversation starter for property boost leads, or PB. And this conversation starter, just a side note, you can copy this into your account as many times as you want and then kind of change it around a little bit for every new lead source, if you're following what I'm saying there. You know, if you've already done it once, you can just pull it in again and kind of tweak it the way I am, kind of a shortcut. So now anytime a lead comes in with hashtag property boost, this will fire. Now let's look at the instant thank you text just to make sure it makes sense. Yeah, and that's why I like this one. So it just says, hi, lead, first name. Thanks for looking at some properties on my website a few minutes ago. Are you actively thinking about a move or browsing for now? Now I'm going to get a little granular because we like to go a little next level here. And there's this trick that you've probably heard me talk about where with the TCPA compliance on texting, this first text will automatically put an unsubscribe call to action in there. And I don't like that. So I'm going to do a little hack to change this auto text really quick. This is a little work, but I really think it's worth doing. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go back to the templates. I'm going to add a new template in just for this. So I'm going to call it text template. And the template name is going to be property boost initial text. And I'm going to say, hi, lead first name. And my hack, some of you guys have seen, is, yeah, Tracy, you can use that template. It's all in there. It's in the Kvcor library. Just pull in the conversation starter buyer leads. You can pull it right into your account. But it says, hi, lead first name. Thanks for, and I'm going to get a little nutty here. I'm going to do thanks for stopping with what looks like a typo in there. And if this drives you nuts, I would advise you not to be driven nuts by looking unprofessional or something for having a typo. It actually, to me, looks more like I manually typed this out, made an honest mistake. But because I put the space between, this word stop is going to be in the text of my that goes out. And this text, this word stop will kill the call to action that offers people the chance to unsubscribe. It's kind of a dirty gray hat hack. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for stopping by and looking at listings on. Thanks for stopping by our website and looking at listings. And now this is Property Boost, right? Looking at the listing just now, right? So I can say the listing just now. I'm keeping it generic. I don't want to see 123 Main Street because I want this to work for all the property boosts that I buy, right? Looking just now. Just curious, are you planning? Do you want to make an offer on it? Question mark, smiley face. So you can have a little fun with this, right? So I expect that if I send this, I'll probably get some pretty good, it'll probably be kind of fun, right? And they'll be like, no, I'm not buying it. Like, yeah, I know, I'm just kidding around, right? But it's an icebreaker, little fun. I could also do, just curious, do you already live in Pinellas County? Right? Or do you currently own a home in Pinellas County? That would be a good one too, to get more toward the listing side of things, cut right to the chase, right? You know, just so they say, yeah, I live over here or there. So I'm gonna go with, do you want to make an offer on it? But just do a quick one-liner, and then I'll just do my name, Ryan at Forever Florida Real Estate, something like that. So this looks good to me. I'll also remind you guys, and this is something I haven't done much of this now, and if I'm going to run these property boosts a lot, use myself as a guinea pig firsthand, but I'll probably add a core video to this eventually. So you can see here, you can insert a video where I can say, hey, I can actually have more fun with it. I can get on camera and be like, try to keep a straight face and say, are you going to buy it? Let me know if you're going to buy it, right? and then just say, just kidding. But you can put your face on video with this text if you want to, and give them a link to click. All right, so I'm going to add this template. I called it Property Boost Initial Text. I need to remember that because I need to go back and add it to the campaign. And I'm now realizing so look at that one more time, guys. I think did I leave a mistake in there? Yeah, see, I asked 2 questions accidentally because I was running my mouth. There we go. Update template. Okay, so now I can go back to the campaigns and I'll look for that conversation starter property boost. Just search any. Here we go. Conversation starter for property boost. Go in there. And then I'm going to add the text. So initial text. Property boost initial text. I look for it. There's my template. View it. Make sure it's the right one. There we go. And then I'll just run that. I can run it immediately, or I can say, hey, run it like 3 minutes later, 2 minutes later. So it feels a little more organic, right? A little more organic. It doesn't feel like an automated system thing. So I set a little space between. And then this is going to, let's just look. It's also going to send an email. Thanks for landing on our website just now. If you'd like to share some details about the shirts, I'd be happy to do a little research, send a few handpicked listings. So this email is just offering value, right? It's offering to be of service. It's not talking about my designations or how long I've been in the business or anything like that. So that's kind of how these conversation starters work. All right, to get back to the task at hand, though, we've got a smart campaign in place. It will fire whenever the property boost hashtag comes in. The hashtag here is property boost. This text is the biggest thing that's going to make me money here, though. I promise you guys. And if it's not working and you're not getting replies, just change it. Just go in and edit the template. You know, if you get 20 leads and it's crickets, go in and edit it. And you know, you'll get to a point where you're like, wow, yeah, this response is generating me, you know, good interactions, and you can leave it. But a lot of this driving traffic and building these kinds of systems are about testing what's going to work and what's not. But I know firsthand from a lot of experience at this point that this is where the moneymaker is. And that's why we're doing it first. Okay, so now that that's set up, I've got a smart campaign ready to go. My step 2 is just to, I put here, establish a monthly budget for boosting. But really, I'm just that speaks to the idea of going into this with a budget and a plan in place. We don't want to just do this once, you know, get 10 leads or how many ever leads we get from property boost. Maybe we only get 2 because it's a dud, you know, nobody's interested in the property, and assume that it didn't work. We need to say, hey, I'm going to spend $300 a month. So on my side, for the purposes of this experiment, I'm planning to spend at least the $60 a week to run 1 property boost a week. That's just kind of how I'm going to approach this. And for a total budget of $300, and I'll do it for 5 weeks. Okay. The code for my template, Lisa's asking, the actual campaign, guys, is just in the Kvcor library. So you just go look for conversation starter. If you want the language that I just wrote right here, you don't need the code because it's already in the library, is what I'm saying. I'll tell you what, now I get the spirit of that question. I'm going to drop the text I just wrote here. But yes, why don't I give you guys the share campaign code for this? And it's possible that I'll evolve it over time. But yes, if you want to directly pull this exact thing in, you can. One warning, I'm putting it in the chat. I did put my name directly in the text template instead of merging in the agent name. I can go back later and change that. But it'll actually have my info in there, which is kind of a bummer. See this part right here? So why don't I take a minute here and fix that so that when you copy the campaign and it doesn't do that to you. And this will be a little bit of a good tutorial for those of you who are admins who are creating these campaigns for other people. See how I didn't use a merge code here? I directly put it in. I'll just change it and I'll put the little parentheses there that brings up my merge codes. And then I'll do agent, scroll down, where is it? Agent first name. And then I can do agent company if I want, I think. I can do office. Office name, like that. If I want to merge them both in. I might just keep it personal and do dash Ryan like this. Yeah, so update template. Got to be careful with that, though. I got to make sure if you guys copy that campaign, if I put a video in there, the video will be for me. And it won't change if you copy it today and you're watching this webinar. It won't change if I change it in the future. It'll just be what you copy today. So, but there you go. Okay, so Let's now go to the next phase here. So we've decided we're going to spend on Property Boost. And I'm going to stop and just answer a few questions about that section, and then we'll continue on. So what questions do we have? We had, is there a way to set the auto text to be at a specific time? So Cheyenne, that was kind of, you can set the delay for when it goes out. I do think maybe it obeys your office hours, so it won't send texts overnight or outside of office hours, whatever your admin has those set for. So if the lead comes in at 3 in the morning, it may text them like at 9 a.m., whatever the office hours are. That's the best we got, I think. Rich is just talking about his Property Boost leads. Yeah, it is really good. You can see Rich's comment in the chat. And let's see. And CB is asking, Cheyenne's asking, is there a fix for previewing the campaigns? It's all one long run. That's a good question. So the good news is you don't need to worry about it. Basically, when you're previewing, it's just kind of showing it in that condensed view in the preview, but it doesn't do that when it sends. I know that for sure. So, oops, go back here. It's my there we go. You're talking about this, right? The preview just condenses it so that it doesn't take up too much space. Okay, I want to make sure I turn off this other Property Boost campaign there. There we go. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get to step 3, and that is finding listings to advertise to run your boost. So as I said at the top, I don't have any listings, but that's not a problem. All I did this morning was I shot Delia, the broker at Forever Florida Real Estate, a quick text, and I said, just curious, do I have permission to advertise any of the office listings? And she said, sure. For Property Boost. And I think most brokers are going to say that unless they anticipate some drama from other listing agents. But ask your broker first. That's the first place to go. So now I know I can go into Kvcor and any company listings. I'll just drive traffic for that listing. The listing agent will benefit because they'll get more exposure for the listing, and I will generate buyer leads around it into my Kvcor account. So that's the first thing to try. If the broker says no, there's some sensitivity from other listing agents in the office, they don't want to just have blanket permission out there, then go one by one to individual listing agents and ask them for permission. If you don't have listing, so you get a few listing agents to say, sure, anytime. There's going to be people in your office who just don't do this stuff at all. They're all referral based and they don't really care. They just want to sell their listings, right? Especially listing agents. They don't care if you're generating buyer leads around it. It doesn't hurt them. And then the third way to go is just find other agents at other offices who you are friendly with and just ask them. Just say, hey, would you mind if I ran an ad for your listing? You might be surprised. I've done this a lot, and a lot of people will say yes. The most common thing you'll get is, sure, but I'd like to see it first. And in that case, you can just show them a preview. Just tell them it's going to be a Facebook ad, and you can show them a preview from Property Boost in Kvcor, which I'll show you how to get to that in a second. So let's go ahead and run the boost right here. So I'm going to go into Kvcor, and there's a lot of ways to get to this. You can do it from Marketplace. You'll find Property Boost, but because I need to find a listing, I'm just going to go into the listings section, and I'm just going to click company listings. So that was pretty easy. I can also filter for company listings right here if I want to. All right, and then I'll look up top here, and I'll just pick one. So we don't have a ton of inventory right now, but there's 13. It's 13 listings right there. That's kind of cool. And I'll just grab the latest one. So that's 13 pieces of inventory that my broker has said, sure, go ahead. A few of them are doubles because they're residential and commercial, as you can see here. But I'll just grab this one, put a checkbox next to it. I have to zoom out. That's throwing me off there. So we'll just click on this, and then I can click Boost Property up top. So click Boost Property, like so. And you can see just like that, the Facebook ad is created and ready to go to be sent over to Facebook. And this is where you can, if you want to share the preview with somebody who's like, I want to see the ad before you run it, or you want to show it to your seller, right? You can do that right there. You just kind of take a screenshot and send it over to them, like so. I wouldn't see the comments and shares. That's just for demo purposes. I wouldn't send them that part of the screenshot. They'll be like, what, you're already running it? Yeah. So I'm pretty sure for the question about if the property sells, I'm pretty sure it just stays live for the duration. Yeah, that's how it goes. And in this market where things are selling so fast, that whenever that question comes up, we kind of say, hey, if you kind of know it's going to sell quick, you know how you priced it, right? Right? Or you know it's probably going to sell fast. Then just do shorter duration boosts if you're worried about that. Do 3 days or 7 days instead of going like the whole 5 weeks or something. Or as I've been, or better strategy, just way overprice it so you can run boosts for it for the next year. Just kidding. But let's keep going. So you go down here, you have the property. Just know that you can change the image if you want. So you can choose from one of the other images in the MLS, which is kind of cool, right? You can do this for open houses, price reduced, and solds as well. I'll just mention that up at the top. Now, when a user clicks on your ad, they will land on select the website. I'm going to choose my subdomain right here. Targeting. This is another aspect of this that is awesome in my market, in Florida or just areas that are destinations. I can run this locally, right? So by default, it's just going to run around my county, right? But I can also just come right back in, run another boost, and run this up in Philly where it's freezing right now, which is awesome, right? So the quality of those leads, they're going to be a little further out, of course, because they're not kind of living in Florida or they're not in the area right now. But it could be a cool way to attract people out of town and get them thinking about the idea of moving closer to you. So I can change the targeting right here. And then you have the ability to add some ad compliance text, which, that's if you need to put a license number in the ad or something like that. But you can also definitely check out the yard. You can also have a little fun with that to like add a little bit more of a description to push the ad along. But this is designed mostly for license numbers and things that you might need in an ad to be compliant. Okay, and just so you know, it does always show the listing office. It shows the address and then the listing office to keep you covered. So let's say you have permission from another agent to advertise and they're at another office, it's going to show their office there, which is cool, and give them the appropriate credit just to keep you compliant with advertising. And then but it'll run the ad to your Kvcor. So Nicole's asking, is it possible to create a boost to target sellers? Not currently. We have our get sellers leads option in Marketplace that you can check out, and that kind of runs a similar type of ad, but it runs it not like this. But to answer that question, she's asking, is it possible to create a boost to target sellers? I promise you guys, homeowners are going to come in off these ads. So that's the kind of the mindset shift you need to have with the online traffic. Is with online traffic like this, like, look, a lot of these people opting in here are going to own a home in my market. And if I can stay in touch with them over the long enough period of time and build top of mind status, they know me as an agent. When they're ready to pull the trigger, they're going to work with me. And, one of the trainers on our team, we were doing an internal training this morning. Christina, she brought up a great point. It's like, most sellers are buyers. I forget that line, but that's true, right? Most people who need to sell their home need to find something else to move into first. So that's the other value here. So they might be clicking and looking at this house because they see it as a viable trade up or trade down. They're downsizing. In this case, it's a smaller house, or they see a bigger house and they're clicking because they are thinking that in the back of their head. So you might double pop. There's potential that you double pop. You get the listing and you have to find another house. So. Okay, I see all the questions, guys. I really appreciate them. I will get to all of them by the end of the session. So let me just finish. I'll finish up this ad and we'll get to those. So now I'm going to choose my pricing. I'll just do a 1 weeker right here, right? So it'll run from the 20th today. Usually these go live like the same night. We send them up in a feed to Facebook, I think in batches, and Facebook approves them usually overnight, right? So, and then usually by the next morning, if everything's working right, hopefully the first day you see a lead, maybe it takes a day or two. That brings up another point about property boost. It's really important. Some of these boosts are going to generate tons of leads for whatever reason. And usually it has something to do with the location, the picture, something about the listing just resonates with the marketplace. Some property boosts just aren't, because it's not. Maybe there's something up with the picture that people aren't interacting with, right? So you can't just do one boost and assume that you have gotten full picture. As Rich was stating above, he's had great success with this. But there's a chance that if Rich had run his first boost and only gotten 2 leads, he might have given up on it. And he's at the point now where he's generated a lot business from it. So that you need to have that mentality. So there we go. So 60 days, $60, 1 week. And then I'm going to do this live. Maybe I shouldn't. Do you guys mind watching me throw credit card info in? Because I really want to make sure this gets done right now, exactly as I show you on the webinar, so that in future, next week's sessions and in future weeks, I want to update you guys on how this is going, doing one boost at a time. So I'm just gonna pop this in. If anybody wants to grab my credit card info, can you see me typing it in? This is brave, right? Maybe I shouldn't do this. Here. The reason I'm doing it, I could always edit this out, but that's like making more work. I'll have to go edit it out later. So I'm just gonna do it in another window if you don't mind. I'll do it quick, I promise. Because if I X this out and I forget to do it later, then it's all for nothing. So here we go. And then we'll take a few more questions and continue on. There's just a few more things we're going to need to do to make sure that this works pretty well and these leads convert as they start coming in. So that's a bummer that they don't hide. I'm in my second monitor doing this. But I got to adjust the window size. If anybody needs to buy a bathroom break or, go get a drink. There we go. Answer a Facebook thread. Okay. Let's hope the credit card's working these days. Complete checkout. And now my card is saved, so I can do it a lot quicker later. Okay, guys, it's just thinking, and then I'll bring the card back in. There is something I want to show you about this after the payment is accepted. There we go. Thank God, credit card's good. Okay, so here we go. It says, thank you, order has been confirmed. And this is really cool right here. You can actually put a seller's email in to remind them of how much value you're providing. Enter their email and phone, and we'll send them a daily update of impressions and clicks. See a preview of the email here. So I'll open that in a new window. This is kind of a cool thing to go out to your seller, right? I gotta I put that picture in there as a joke. I gotta change that immediately. Yeah, this is an email that will go out. So I'm gonna skip this. This isn't my listing. If I might coordinate with the listing agent next time, like, hey, let me know the email, and I'll throw that in there. So we're gonna skip this right here, and the process is done. And then you're gonna have your Property Boost dashboard that shows you how many leads, clicks, shares, impressions, and everything that go on. And I'm not sure if this is still true. I used to kind of help on the product side of Property Boost, but I'm forgetting. I think it's a 1-day lag. So if you see 0 leads the first day, but you're getting leads, it could just be, I think it's 24 hours and then it reports it. Don't hold me to that. It might be instant now. But yeah, over time, you're going to see all the action right here. So what I've just built, guys, what we're almost done building is a complete growth system around Property Boost. There's just these steps 4 and 5 that we're going to get into, but I am going to pause here and make sure I catch up on your questions. Okay, so let's see. Zeta, it will not say property is off market. I'm pretty sure it may redirect. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I'm a little bit stumped on that, but I'm pretty sure that the ad just keeps running with the picture. And then there's a possibility that after the person generates the lead and they go to your site, it may say pending, right? Because the system in most markets will like change the listing to pending, but you'll still have generated a lead, So let's see. Going down here. So Tanya's asking, do you need to set the conversation starter before you do the boost? You don't have to. You can order the boost without doing that. And you can do that. You can flip the order. You can go run a boost now. But what I recommend is that you make sure that you have some kind of smart campaign firing off the Property Boost hashtag. You could even use the default Kvcor campaign, which is the way a lot of admins set up the system when you first launch. Like you have this default campaign turned on, but I'd recommend at least adding some kind of auto text to that campaign. So yeah, you don't need to do it to run the boost though. Let's see. Bo, on that question, I would, you can chat with support and ask them. Bo's asking about nosy neighbor zip codes. Just ask for the marketplace team and just say, hey, I'd like to talk to the marketplace team. And then ask what you're asking me here. Just say, hey, I'm trying to get a zip code, but 2 were taken. Can you just let me know? And then you can probably pop them a handful of zip codes and maybe they can let you know. I think they can help you with that. Okay. Yeah, sorry for talking fast, Tanya. I got a lot of content to jam into an hour. And I always use the New Jersey excuse. Mark's asking a great question. do we have to use Kvcor's property boost in order to connect it to the smart campaign, or can we just boost the property on our own and have it somehow connect? Yeah, you can you can run your own Facebook lead ads for listings. And then Mark, what you would need to do is as you zap them in using Zapier, you would set a hashtag and trigger it the same way. The beautiful thing about Property Boost, like for my money, I help design Property Boost and everything else, and I know how to run a manual lead form ad. There's a lot of steps there, and the beauty of Property Boost is that we've written all the API code to just tie Facebook and Kvcor together. As you saw the order process, even while I was talking to you, it takes like 2 minutes. The longest part was putting the credit card info in. So yeah, you can definitely do it on your own though. And Bo, that's a good answer, but I would definitely use Zapier instead of doing the import, because then it's doing it in real time. It can send the auto text. Nicole, I don't know about step-by-step guide. Are you talking about this document? I'd be happy to share this document with everybody watching live. If you guys want this, I'll do this now. Just copy it to everybody watching it. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'll try to make sure I get this in the description of the YouTube video later today. Okay. Okay. Rose is asking, how can we connect the campaign hashtag property boost to the ads? Good question. I probably went over that quick. It just happens automatically. So any property boost ad that's run using that process I just did, when the lead comes in, it'll say property boost. So that's the way we built it. And that's why it's important to make sure you use the property boost tag, to trigger your campaign. Let's see. Great questions, guys. And Cheyenne's asking, can you show how to set up campaigns so that if you get a lead from this and they respond to the text, that it automatically goes into active lead? Yes, that's a very cool question. So if you go to marketing, guys, right here, and you go to all marketing, and then up at the top right, there's behavioral automation right here. And there's a setting in Kvcor, a series of settings. And right over to the right, which says when a new lead or prospect responds, move them to active. So that's it right there. So make sure that that's toggled on. And then if you get a response to the text, it'll stop sending any behaviorals. It'll get them out of new lead status, and it'll stop sending behaviorals for any of that status. The other thing that is maybe good to do is turn off the behaviorals for active leads if you want. That's kind of another conversation, but some people decide, yeah, once they're moved out of new, I don't want behaviorals to happen anymore. Or maybe I only want them to happen for actives, but not for my other lead types. So like something like that. Yeah, great question. Maria, I'm sorry about that error message. That might be a support thing. I can't really troubleshoot from here. Sorry about that. I'm not sure on that issue either, Maria. Support could probably help. Mark, I haven't done a follow-up on the seller lead capture lead generation. Other than I mentioned earlier in this webinar, it's generated 5 leads for $6 or $7 a piece so far. And okay, and then Rose's question will transition us here. So Rose is asking, what do you recommend for active lead campaign after the property boost? So if they respond and they're active. So I kind of divert here from the way a lot of people think about this. And I like to think about my ongoing campaigns instead of having some long drip campaign that's kind of canned content. I like to use these 2 things that we're going to do in step 4 and 5 in place of those. And the first one, which is really important, is to set up an automated hashtag alert for the boosted property. Or you can manually set this up for every new lead that comes in. I'd rather just set it and forget it. So I just ran an ad. I forget the listing, but you can try to set up a separate alert based on what the house of the property boost you just ran is. You can do that. What I'm going to do and suggest that you do in the beginning is this. I'm going to come into marketing, all marketing, and I'm going to go to search alerts. Click learn more. And then I'm going to set up an automated alert. So make sure I don't have this already done for another example. And I'm just going to say, hey, anytime property boost hashtag comes in, I'm going to send them a search, and it's going to be all the listings in my county that come available. And I'm just going to pick like a sweet spot price range, 200 to like 700. And I know this is going to kind of raise some eyebrows, maybe. Click alert. So I set it based on the property boost hashtag and add alert. So what did this just do? What this did was it told Kvcor that any property boost lead, we're going to send them a listing alert pretty much every day. I might have glanced over the part where you set the frequency, but I will set that to daily until they tell me to stop. So let's go back here into that alert. Down at the bottom, yes, the frequency is daily. And some of you might be thinking, well, they don't want 200 to 700,000. They didn't say that when they became a lead. And I think this is where some people get hung up on some of the minutia, and it costs, it costs money. It costs you money to think this way. I have two of them here. The idea here, the important part is that they're going to get something from me every day with real estate info, and my name's going to be attached. So it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be something with real estate info. So what I just did was that. Now, you can, as the leads come in, you can go into their contact record. So if I go here and I see I get a PB lead, I don't have any here as an example, but I can always go into the lead and say, okay, this lead came in off of this listing. And when the lead comes in, it's going to say property boost, and there'll be a second hashtag that says like PB and then the address, right? And I can say, okay, it came off of this listing. Let's go ahead here and adjust the alert. And you can do some tweaking to the alert if you want. The other thing you can do is you can set up specific alerts for the hashtag of that property. You would just kind of have to wait for the first lead as it stands now, and then set it up accordingly. I think I'll talk to the product manager for Property Boost and maybe suggest that we show you what the hashtag is so that you can set that alert. But what I just did by setting a global alert for everything Property Boost related was I got the job done for a long-term drip campaign. At least they're getting something. And then knowing that as the leads come in, I can always adjust those alerts. And one more comment on alerts, a lot of people obsess about getting them perfect and having all the info that's being synced from the MLS and being able to do really granular alerts. The actual best thing that can happen with alerts is that somebody replies back and they're like, hey, can you please stop sending me $800,000 houses? I can't afford that. Or they say, why are you sending me these low end 200,000? Why are you sending me 2 bedrooms, right? Please adjust. Because now you're in conversation with them and you have the opportunity to be of service and give them the search that they need. So it's almost kind of like the typo. It's almost better to be imperfect because it causes a conversation in a way. So I know I kind of hammered that point, but I just have gotten that response a lot. Like, hey, that's too broad. And actually broader is better in the beginning. And in the final step, it's kind of a topic for full webinars, and we've done content around this, is to try to send something interesting weekly to your whole database to convert these leads. So I'm having all these people come in top of funnel, and they're opting in on Facebook around a specific listing, and they're going into this bucket here that we have in Kvcor. Now, if I go in and they're going to be getting automated alerts, they're going to get a couple of texts and emails from me in the Smart Campaign, right, to get them talking to me. But then if once a week I go into my marketing section right here, and I go, all right, schedule mass email. When I do this like every Friday, like a robot, or every Saturday, just I pick a time every week where this is going to happen. And I send it to all my Property Boost leads, or I can send it to my whole database even, but all my Property Boost leads. And I send something interesting. So I say, property, Pinellas, deal of the week. Right? So I send them a listing that I think is priced really well. I can send them a webinar invite. First time investor webinar invite. Hi, on Tuesday, we're doing a webinar. I'm summarizing here. Or you can do interview with Joe Schmo, owner of popular restaurant. Insert popular restaurant here, right? So you can interview a local business owner on YouTube and send a link out. It doesn't really matter. It's just some kind of locally focused content or some kind of featured listing We've done webinars on this and we'll do more, but try to send something every week that builds your top of mind status that isn't kind of generic listings, and is a little bit outside of what everybody else can do. So, but the system here is complete at that point as long as I do step 5. Step 5 is the only manual thing I need to do every week, in addition to just having the conversations with the leads as they come in. So, all right. So I'll look back at the questions now. Okay, I'm just looking up. Okay, great. So Patricia's question, she asked in the behaviors, why wouldn't you click all of them on? The only reason sometimes we get feedback is, look, I'm working with somebody, and then the behaviorals are like sending them a message that makes me look silly. My personal opinion is like, it's kind of funny. Like if that happens, then you just apologize to the user. Like, yeah, my dumb system did that. It's not a big deal, but a lot of people would like that flexibility. So just to remind everybody, I'm back here in behaviorals. So like if I'm under contract with somebody, I don't want the system to send automated messages, or they're currently in prospect status or they've closed. So that's why you wouldn't do it. Rose is asking, the search alert you made for that new lead will come in with the hashtag property boost. Yeah, so the way we set up the search alerts, we're telling the system, hey, if you see this hashtag property boost, then send this alert. So yeah. Cheyenne's asking, is there a way to set an active alert for all new leads to match the criteria of what they are searching instead of having to set them up? So the system will, once people start searching, the system will set an alert automatically if they see them searching for things. But what I just did was I set a broad one, and then here, let's go back to that really quick. You could say, hey, if PB 123 Main Street comes in, a specific hashtag for a property, you can set a more defined alert. So I can say, create alert, PB 123 Main, push enter, and then I would tighten that up based on what the listing that they opted in for. But the truth is, if they come in as a property boost lead, you really don't know what they're looking for. So setting it broad kind of forces them to tell you over time. You could also put in your smart campaign, you could say something like, hey, what are you looking for? And I think in my smart campaign, I offer a handpicked list of properties, right? To try to get them to tell me the criteria. So, Patricia's asking, if you send something once a week, can you see everybody who clicked the link in the email? Not currently. I know that there's some plans to beef that up a little bit, but you can't really say, hey, everybody click this email so that you can send additional stuff. We haven't gotten that far. Cool. And then questions, can you please share this page? Do you mean the one that I'm looking at, Maisie? I'll share it again. This doc right here. Yeah, okay, here you go. I shared it above, but here, I'll share it again. Okay, guys, so about 47 minutes in, that was our property boost based real estate growth system. All I need to do now, I have all the infrastructure in place on the automation front. All I need to do is come in here once a week now and run another property boost, right? Or I can run multiple at a time. And the final thing I'll say, back to the scalable point, if you run a listing and it starts generating a ton of leads fast, go run it more, right? Or if you're having good conversations around that listing, you can go back and run it again or up the budget. I think you might have to just go run it new, or wait for it to expire and then run it more, basically. So that there's some scalability in that. Thanks, Kathy. This is one of your best webinars. Cool. I prepared like an hour or two before, but thanks. I've been meaning to do this topic because I think property boost, it solves a big problem. And that problem is, how do I generate fresh leads without being very technical? And as you saw, all you need to do is grab the listing and go through that order form page. And there's not much else to it. The only thing I wanted to make sure that I got onto webinar content like today was the idea that let's make sure that you have some kind of auto text and some kind of campaign that incubates these leads before you spend the money, and make sure they convert. Patricia's asking, so guys, you can ask any other questions you want. Patricia's asking, Does Google penalize you if you use Hootsuite or any other auto posting software? I don't think so. Do you mean like from an SEO perspective? As long as the content that you're posting to your site is original, you should be okay. And sometimes they don't even penalize you for having non-original content, if that's what you're asking. Yeah. No, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys. My throat's getting a little tired talking. So we'll be back Tuesday, Monday, actually. We'll be back. As always, just a reminder, you should get a reminder from Zoom, but you can always look at the live training calendar right here for more information about our upcoming events and updates. And of course, all the replays are available on the Inside Real Estate YouTube channel. And this one was live streamed, so it should be instantly available on the channel. I'll make sure it's in this playlist shortly. All right, have a great day. Thank you, everybody, for your comments as well. Have a great weekend. All right, see you.